Howdy, folks. How's it going? Rosenda from MLH here. Really appreciate y'all joining us today. We've got a great session in store for you. For the folks in the comments, welcome, welcome. Love to see it. Love to see it. Once again, if you have any questions about Auth0, this is a Q&A session to get unblocked. If you have any things that you're working on right now in terms of the challenges or anything like that, feel free to ask. In the chat, drop your questions. We've also got the check-in and registration link right down below. Make sure you check that out. But today's going to be all about y'all. And without any further ado, I'm going to go ahead and bring Ciara Ford, developer advocate at Auth0, who will be answering all of your questions today. All right. Give her one round of applause, y'all.
Hi everyone. Actually I do want to clarify. We didn't finish the workshop yesterday. So we can start off with a Q&A if people want, or we can finish the workshop from yesterday. We finished the workshop from yesterday. We'll also finish all the steps for the challenges. So I want to see what people are thinking in the comments because I'm flexible. We can do like the Q&A if you guys would prefer. Maybe you guys are like, you know, A+ students and you've already finished all the challenges, so we don't have to go through the rest of the workshop. And we could just do the Q&A, or we can finish the workshop.
Cool.
So,
I'll leave it up to the crowd.
Yeah.
Whenever you want to share your screen, just let me know. But
Okay,
outside of that, yeah, I'll leave y'all to it.
Sounds good. Okay, let's finish the workshop. Someone just mentioned finishing the workshop, so I'm going to share my screen again. And bear with me, you guys. Yesterday, that was like, I think everything went really well, except for the sharing of slides. Like that was like pretty difficult. So, which I've always had a hard time with when I like do any kind of live stream. So, I think that we will have time for a Q&A at the end for sure. I don't expect that things will take as much because remember today we don't have like the information, like the 30-minute information at the beginning. We'll just hop straight into the code. So, Abhinav, I really hope that I'm pronouncing your username correctly. Abhinav Malik. We will get to the Q&A for sure. So let's start with sharing. I'm going to share my screen so we can pick back up where we left off yesterday. I'm going to start here. Okay. I'm going to add that to, there we go. All right, cool. So yesterday, the place that we left off was we added the code for conditionally rendering the login and logout buttons. So to go back to the code, just to refresh where we left off, we were in the navbar component and we used the is authenticated property from the use Auth0 hook to check and see if the user was authenticated. If they're not, it's going to show them the login button. If they are, it's going to show them the log out button. So yeah, that's like kind of where we were. I'll show again what that looks like in the UI. So here we have the log out button because we are logged in, and if we log out, it shows the login. So previously, if we didn't have this logic, it would just show both of them at the same time, which is just, that's not a good user experience. And again, we also talked about this yesterday. You can I absolutely encourage you as extra credit to style this button. You don't want this button to look like this. I just want to focus more on like the auth code opposed to like spending time doing styling. So yeah, okay. So let's get back to our next step. Now that we have the login and logout buttons done, honestly, you could kind of stop here if you wanted to, because this is like the core like part of it. But I do want to show you guys what you can do to show like profile information. So we're going to make a profile. We're going to create a profile component. So I will show you creating one in this file, although technically I kind of don't have to in this project, I should say, even though technically I don't have to, and I'll show you why. There is under the pages folder, under SRC, there is a profile page here. So we already technically have like a profile component, but I do want to just like, the way that this one works here is a lot of the like code is pre-filled. And what we have to basically do is just like in this file, import, use Auth0, et cetera, et cetera. But I'm going to show you how to do that from scratch as well, just in case you are working on your own, you're working on your own project. So we still have our server running. And let me just make sure, take a look at the comments really quickly. Um, I just have one question. My React application is not running on the browser. So have you ran run PM run start or yeah, this is what Juro Studs 34 is saying run npm run dev. You might have to run either or of those, depending on what your package JSON scripts say. But yeah, if you're using this project, we're doing npm run start. If you're working on your own, it might be a little bit different. But yeah, try one of those just to see. If are you are you working from the same project as me? I'm trying to see. Okay, the project is the same. That's interesting. Let me continue on, and then when we do this Q&A phase, I'll come back to you. So yeah, let's go back to we're gonna create the um what am I doing? I'm creating the under components. I'm gonna create a profile component. So I'll just do this is like one of the things I yesterday I was talking about how one of the things that happens with me because I work with Next.js, I sometimes like confuse the syntax between the two. So I hope that I'm like getting this syntax correct for, I mean, I don't think it's that much different from React, but I'm just showing you like the pure code and then we'll like um, mess around a little bit with the pre-existing code in the profile page JS that's under a different folder. But for now, let's just start with this. So I'm just going to do import React from React at the top, like we've been doing with every file that we've worked with so far. And then, of course, we're going to still be using use auth0. Um, and then, you know, the export default function, like we always do, default function, and we'll call this profile dot, I mean, not dot anything. And I realize now that this kind of is Next.js syntax simply because in Next.js you create your pages like they're almost components. So what we're grabbing from the use auth0, what we're grabbing from the use auth0 hook is authenticated, which we've worked with before, and also the user property. And the user property is what is holding, like, if the user is authenticated, the user property holds all the user information. So we'll set this equal to use auth0 with parentheses. Um, oh, what? I forgot one of them. I actually, you know what I did? I added the parentheses. I added the semicolon in the parentheses. Okay. So, and then there, and then what we're going to do is we're going to have our return statement and we'll say is authenticated. So if the user is authenticated and if the user is authenticated, this is what we want to return. So we're going to create a div that is going to have an image, and the image source is going to be set equal to, we're going to use curly braces because this is an HTML element, but we're using a little bit of JavaScript here because we're calling back to user, which we defined or we grabbed up here. So we're going to say user dot picture. Oops, I don't know why I did that. User, no, I don't need the autofill right now. Dot picture. So what this is going to do is it's going to display whatever picture. Like if you, for instance, if you're using Google to log in, if you're logging in through Google through Auth0, like connecting your Google account, which is usually how I'll log into a lot of things now, this will grab your profile picture from your Google account and put it onto your profile page. And then we're also going to add an alt tag because of accessibility, of course. And for the alt tag, we'll say user dot name. So it'll print your name. And that's our image. And we also don't really need this. I'll just close it out like this. So that's going to display our image. And then we're going to have an H2 where we'll have displayed the username again. So it'll say, for me, it'll say Sierra Ford. And then, even though you probably wouldn't really need to do this, like you probably wouldn't. Well, actually, yeah. Some for some profile pages, you will like display like what email the person used to log into this account. We'll also show user dot email like so, and so we'll save that. And this is going to be our profile page. So I just wanted to take this code outside of this page because this page has a lot going on, but this is like the core of everything. So really quickly, I'm gonna close this out actually and just show like the component here. And I'll also take a look at the comments to see how things are going. Okay. So we have our profile component built out. What we're going to do now is we could do what we'll do now that we've kind of like just done the basics of the code. We're going to go into the profile page that is already created for this specific project. So again, if you were like building your own, you could do this for your profile page, and then in your navigation bar you'll just link to this profile page in the navigation. And then for here we're gonna excuse me, I every time I don't think I'm used to talking so much. My throat gets so dry. Okay, so for here we're going to come to this page, and if we like look at what is rendered right now, we can see that like um it's not show this is like filler information, and this is the filler information we have up here. um and this is not what we want to show. We don't want to show this. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to delete this user right here, or you can just comment it out if you're afraid to do that, but I'm going to delete it because I've done this before, so I have like a little bit of confidence. So I'm going to up top first import use Auth0. Okay. um use Auth0. And then up here, I'm going to declare a constant, and we're going to grab almost like we just did. So we're doing everything all over again, is authenticated, and the user property. And again, we're going to set that equal to use Auth0. Okay. So if we look at this, if we look at what we're returning here, there's a couple things happening. So we have the title profile page, and then this like message here, only authenticated users should access this page. And then here is where the actual like profile information will be declared. And as you can see, it's actually calling user.picture, user.name, user.email, which we previously just built out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold this up, like not fold it up, but like minify it or whatever. I don't know how you would say that. And I'm going to wrap this div. So the div specifically with class name profile grid, I close it up, and I'm going to wrap this with a little bit of a logic using is authenticated. So basically, if the user is authenticated, we want to actually show them their profile information. And if they're not authenticated, then we don't want to show them anything. So I'm going to use some curly braces, and um, this has to be the second curly brace has to be under here. It gets like confusing with like braces, ending braces and brackets when you have like several, like multiple lines of code, which is why I like folded this up or closed it. I don't know the proper way to say that, but this is why I like, closed it up a little bit, because otherwise it would be like a bunch of lines of code, and I'll be like, where am I supposed to end this and where am I supposed to start this? Like, what's going on? So anyway, going back to when we were doing, I'm trying to make sure I'm trying to keep an eye on the comments because I don't want some condensed. Thank you. Thank you. We condensed it. So we're going to again use the is authenticated property and say like, if the person is authenticated, we want to show them this. So we're going to say and again. And this is going to be in a parentheses. I think that's a parentheses. Guys, I don't know what's going on. Okay. want to put this right here. So if the person is authenticated, then show them the information here where it's going to grab user picture, where it's going to grab username and user email and like display these things. Um, Now, what do we want to show if the user is not authenticated? So if the user is not authenticated, we're going to show just like a little message here. So what I'm going to do is right under here, I'll create another pair of curly braces and say not is authenticated. So if is authenticated returns false, we will display a show a div. Hey, why didn't it give me the closing div automatically? What's that about? We're gonna put a div here, and inside of this div, we'll have one paragraph that says you you are not logged in. Log in see to view your profile information. You could also like there's a lot of different things you could do here. You could import your login button to this page and show it like right underneath here. That's like an option to just to like make it easier for your users to like see the login button and just do it there. But we don't have to do that right now. That's like an extra thing if you want. Plus, I'm like I don't feel like styling that right now. Like just between you and me, I don't really like CSS. I'm not a designer. I don't really like I do it because I have to, but it doesn't mean that I actually am enjoying it. So anywho, so if we go back to our browser, we can actually see that here it says like when we click on the profile page, because we're not logged in, it says the message, oops, you are not logged in, log in to view your profile information. So we have successfully done something right. So if we log in, let's try logging in, and I'm going to connect with Google, which we were talking about earlier. If you do this, this is where it's going to grab your profile picture from. And if we click on profile, it should show my profile picture here. I don't know why it's not. Because the code is certainly correct. And then here you see it like displays my, if we look at this piece of code here, hold on. Where is it? Where am I? Okay, it's in here. And this condensed little piece, if we look at this right here, this is showing like the profile object and all of the like things that the user object has. So it shows my name, my last name, my like Google username. I don't mind you guys knowing this because I guess you can email me if you really want to. It'll go spam. But but yeah, this is like this just shows you all the properties that the user object is holding. So yeah, it's good to know. Just in case there are other things you want to show on the profile page, that part of the code like shows you exactly what those other things you can access are. So now we have our profile page. So I wish the picture was showing up. I don't know why it's not. It literally, I'm not even joking when I say when I tested this code earlier, it was working. I don't know what's going on. Let's see. Because I'm pretty sure, yeah, I'm pretty sure this should be working. I don't really know why it's not because I used the proper whatever. Maybe there's something going on with Google today. I don't know. I wonder if I use like GitHub or something to log in, if it would show correctly. I don't know. But anywho, let me take a look at the comments really quickly. Let me see what's going on. Yes, this is part 2 of the Auth0 session from yesterday. Because I didn't finish. I went way over time, which, you know, sorry, you guys. I totally anticipated that this wouldn't take so long. Okay, so we are almost wrapped up. The only thing left we have to do, so we created our profile component, and we used the Auth0 hook to check if people are authenticated and display user info using the user object within the use of Auth0 hook. And then we also conditionally render the profile page only for authenticated users. We did all of that because we're so great and we're amazing coders and we know everything. And that's it. We're done with the coding. So we got that out the way. The bonus content that I did want to show you guys is how you can customize your login box. So this is one of the challenges that we have for the Global Hack Week. One of the Auth0 challenges is customizing your login box. And I want to show you guys this because I think this is really fun. Um, it's like one of my like favorite things to do. So if we go back to our, it's making me log in again. Boo, boo. So I'm gonna log in to Auth0, and you guys probably don't have to do this because if you just made your first account, you probably only have one tenant, but I have several because I work here and I'm always doing stuff here. So I switched to the right correct tenant. You don't have to do that step because you probably only have one. And you're going to go to branding over here on the left hand side of the menu. Let me actually make this bigger so that it shows up better. Oh my gosh, that might be a little bit too big. Oops. Okay. So I'm just going to click on branding and I'm going to click on universal login, which is what we're using. And this kind of gives you a preview of what the login box looks like now. And you can customize a few things. You can add your own logo. If you have a link to the logo, you can change the colors. So like, I don't know, what color do I want to do? I didn't think this far ahead. I'm gonna look up some hex code colors to see like what I'm doing. What do I want to choose? Let's see, hex code. Um, let's do this orange. So just copy this. Actually, I don't want to do this orange because it's too close to the actual like one of our. Ooh, I'll do this purple. One of the like Auth0 brand colors is orange, or it used to be because you know how companies like change their branding and stuff. But I still feel like people will recognize. Look at it, isn't it cute? Eee, that's so cute. So we can also change the page color. What do we want the page color to be? It has to be something that's like darker to like contrast between. I'll do this dark purple that they have here. Um, by the way, I love this website because like I said, I'm not a designer. I never have like ideas for what colors I want things to be. So I just come here and just like let it choose for me. Oh, sorry. This should be. So look, we changed the color of it. And we can also, like I said, you could change the logo. I don't have a logo. Um, you know what I'll do? I'll go to can I like I'll see if I can take my I'm gonna go to my GitHub profile page. Why am I not signed in? If I try to sign in, they're gonna make me like have to authenticate and stuff like that. Okay. For now, I'm not gonna have a logo because I don't feel like finding a link to an image that is not copyrighted and I don't want to get in trouble. um so for now, this is my customization of my login page. And let's see what other options we have. I know some of the other options are like um you can also like this okay, I gotta make this a little bit smaller. So you can change like some of there's more things you can change over here. If you look like closely here, it's more I can't zoom in. Can I not? Oh, I can zoom in. Okay. Oh, it's not working. Anyway, you can change some more things specifically here. Like if you want to change fonts, you can do that in this specific section. Borders, colors, and shapes, and thickness, and all that kind of good stuff. Your page background, which I did already. And up here, like again, you have access to more colors that you can change. It doesn't just have to be this button. You can change like the color of these things and all that kind of stuff if you so choose. You could get creative if you want. Um, but yeah, this is like just the bonus content that you can do if you want to. And then if we go back to our sample and we log out and then try logging back in, as you can see, it like updated to show what we put into our settings here. So yeah, that's like a fun little tip. Although I don't like designing, there's something in me that loves a little like adding a little color. It feels fun. Okay, cool. Let me look at some more of the questions. I wonder why you couldn't get the custom logo to work? Is it because is it because you use a logo that I mean not a logo, a URL that didn't work? I have a hard time finding like image URLs that actually work sometimes. And then someone asked, what are the I don't have the answer to that question. MLH is gonna have to answer for that. Okay, cool. So now that we kind of have everything, I'm trying to make sure I have all my slides done. Where are we? I just showed you guys this. And then the last thing I want to shout out, which is also a part of the challenge, is doing taking a screenshot of the login box that you created and the customizations that you've made. So like if you've done special colors like I did, take a screenshot of that and share that on Twitter and or LinkedIn. You could do both or either or. I don't know where you guys like to hang out. And then you can tag Auth0 and also use this hashtag so that I can see, because I will check. I will be checking and I will be liking and reposting. So yeah, if that's something you want to participate in, if you want to complete the challenges, like I would love to see the work that you guys are doing. Yeah, so try to use the hashtag on Twitter or LinkedIn. I'm mostly on Twitter, but I will be checking LinkedIn as well throughout the weekend to see what you guys put up. Because yeah, I want to see what kind of creative things you guys can do with your login box. So and maybe get some inspiration. So yeah, thank you guys so much for bearing with me. I totally wanted to finish this yesterday, but if you guys have any questions for me as far as Auth0 is concerned, or just as far as anything that I might be able to help out with, I'm happy to answer. Up until then, I think what I want to actually do is show you guys a Next.js project that I've been working on for months now. And it's honestly, it's not like super impressive, but it's impressive to me because it is like involving something I'm very deeply interested in. And I know that if anyone here, if any of my coworkers like join this stream, which I don't know if they did, they'll be like, here she goes again. I am like deeply, deeply obsessed with Beyonce. This is like, everybody knows this about me. And so what I decided to do was I was like, I want to learn Next.js. So I decided to build a Next.js yeah, I'm just checking. I got distracted by the comments. But anyway, I decided to build a Next.js website, e-commerce website, where I sell fake Beyonce concert tickets because I want her to go on tour again. So I was like, let me just like be delusional and pretend like she is. And also to learn Next.js, obviously, like that part too. That part's important too. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to get this to display so that I can show you guys like what it looks like. So I'm going to really quickly, you can't see my screen, can you, just yet? So I'm gonna pull up the my terminal again, and for now I will actually kill this server. I'm so sorry, server. I'm so sorry we have to kill you. Okay, and I'm on going to actually close this one out. Oops, that's not what I want to do. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to change out of this directory to back to desktop, and I'm pretty sure it's called like Beyonce something. There we go. And if I run npm, I think run start, unless if this doesn't work, you guys, I'm going to be so embarrassed. Hey, it's working. Okay, it's showing from localhost 3000. Oh goodness. Okay, hold on. I want to go here. Localhost 3000. This is like way too big. Let's slow down. This is my Beyonce website, guys. And another thing that makes me really excited about this website is the fact that it's not like fully designed yet, and it's not fully functional yet either, but it uses passwordless authentication through Auth0. So I'm going to show you guys how I do this. I'm going to use like a random email. And then here it's saying, oh, let me make this bigger so you guys can actually see. Okay. Use fingerprint or face recognition to log in. So I can use passwordless authentication. I don't have to use a password. And so I'm going to use my fingerprint. Boop. And I'm logged in. OMG. OMG. And I think, does this work? Oh, yeah. So the other thing is I also was able to connect this with Stripe so that you can like technically buy something. I use the Stripe API for this. And I made these tickets here. I'm so excited about this, you guys. I made these tickets here in Canva. I'm so delusional. Anyway, but I just wanted to show you guys this because it also kind of exemplifies some like other Auth0 features that you might not know of. So like I said, we did the actually no, I'm trying to go home. We did the passwordless authentication, which is like something you can do through Auth0, which I'm happy to kind of show you guys. Yes, Beehive stand up. Anyway, I made this like just around when she came out with Cowboy Carter, or I didn't actually start it then. I had the idea for it then. And I was like, let me actually try working on this. And like I said, it's not fully functional. I actually have to dedicate some more time to work on this because I want it to be like I want it to be like a project I can have on my portfolio and feel like really good about. And there's still some features and functionality that I want to add to it. Like this is the only button for purchasing that works. I don't think these ones work yet. Yeah, I haven't like even added the functionality to this one. It actually was so stressful trying to connect this with Stripe. Like you guys don't even know. I live stream sometimes on Twitch. And I actually had someone who works at Stripe try to help me build this out. And we both were like, we don't know what's going on for real, for real. So, because I'm learning Next.js, the person I was working with on the stream didn't know Next.js. I think he was like he usually codes in a different language that I'm not familiar with. So I was super excited. You know, when you like debug something and you finally get it to work and you feel that like, oh my gosh, this is why I do this. This is why I code because it makes me feel so smart and powerful. But yeah, I finally got this to work, and then I was like, okay, I'm done now. I took a break, and so I want to get back to like adding that. I want it to be like I want to make sure that all of these works for like the different tier tickets, and then also another thing I want to do is like when people are logged out and they try to buy a ticket, I want there to actually be a pop up that encourages them to log in. So I would like to add that feature. So have like that pop up that that's like, hey, maybe you should log in before you purchase the ticket. Um, and what else did I want to add on this? I think that was pretty much it. I just wanted it to be like a fully functional like e-commerce site. I felt like that was a good way to like um, get to know Next.js and work with Auth0 a little bit more. So yeah, I encourage you guys to like try out making things that are like fun and interesting to you because it's going to make you like excited to actually work on the project. So let me see what people are saying. So Auth0 doesn't have transaction features. I used another service called Stripe, and they do all things payments. The other thing that I wanted to do, which I have yet to like figure out, is integrating like getting the Auth0 and Stripe APIs to like talk to each other so that they can share information between each other, which is getting into more of the like back end stuff that I'm not super versed in just yet. But I think it would be a great way again to like get to code more and get to know both products a little bit more, get to know Stripe and Auth0 more. And also like that's a real world use case because there are tons of platforms out there that use Stripe for payments. There are tons of platforms that also use Auth0. So that's a real world thing where you'll have to figure out and just in general, like you're going to professionally use several different APIs that have to share information between each other. How can you get them to do that correctly, securely, all that kind of good stuff? So that's like another step forward for this project. But yes, Auth0 doesn't handle transactions. I used Stripe for that. Um, I would get scammed. That's what Snowy Cab says. I when I was building this, I was like, oh no, I had to make sure to like use a fake currency so that it's very obvious that this is not real. First of all, Beyonce tickets would never be $50. I wish. Maybe like 15 years ago. Not anymore. I've been to see her twice and I can tell you they were not $50 at all. Um, did you also add the payment form using OAuth? No, I didn't. I didn't use OAuth. OAuth is specifically for all things auth, authentication, and all that kind of good stuff. So the payments are a totally separate thing. I don't know what Stripe uses under the hood, but I just use the Stripe API. I don't know if Stripe like I don't know if as far as payments go, if there's like some sort of underlying like protocol, just like how it is with OAuth and those like protocols for authentication and authorization. I don't know if payments have the same thing, but it's a separate. Those are like two separate things. Because OAuth again is like the auth stuff, and then like payments is a totally separate thing. Um, so I don't know. I actually maybe I should figure that out. Like what Stripe is actually using under the hood. I'm not gonna lie. I was just glad that somebody else was handling payments and it didn't have to be me. Because if I had to hard code that, like authentication and payments are very similar in that. Well, maybe actually I don't know because it is a form holding. I don't know. Let me look into that because I actually don't know now. I think about it, but um, what was I getting ready to say? But yeah, I the authentication, like logging in and logging out and getting all that like user information, like payments is very similar because this is your credit card information you're putting in here. It has to be like very, there's a lot of standards it has to be compliant with to make sure that like people don't get like hacked and robbed and stuff. And if you fumble that as a business, you could be liable. Like it gets like very into the legalities of it. And that's the nice thing about using Stripe is that they like handle all the legal standards. They handle all the security stuff to make it like super safe. Which is similar to what Auth0 does, except Auth0 is specifically for like user information and not payments. So yeah. Let me take a look at the comments just to make sure I'm not like missing anything. But yeah, if you guys have any questions about like any of this stuff, I'm happy to like try to answer more things. But yeah, I've also like there's like a bunch of projects that I I want to work on and I just have to like actually find the time to do it because life is busy and also like coding is hard. But this is like my brainchild right now. I'm actually giving a talk on this at a conference next month. And by then, I want this to be like fully fledged and built out. Can I do that? We shall see. We shall see. I don't know. We shall see. We shall see. I have the talk actually finished. The slides are finished. The project, the demo, not. So let's see if we can do that. But let me answer this one question before I continue my ramble. Is Next.js just a newer version of JavaScript? Do you have resources for self-learning? So Next.js is actually like a step above React. So it is like it adds some core features to React specifically that make React that enhance React. So if you think about like some of the issues that you can run into when you're building with React are things like routing that becomes really hard. React is also purely front end. So if you're trying to get more into the back end side of things and work with APIs and stuff like that, can get a little bit muddy there as well. There's a bunch of other enhancement. There's a bunch of other things that like React has that aren't like necessarily bad, but also don't make for a great development experience on the engineer side that Next.js addresses. So what I would recommend for you is to go Next.js. Actually, if you go to nextjs.com, I want to say, let's see. I can't type. Okay. Next.js. Let's just see. They have it's nextjs.org. They have a course that you can take. It's totally free. I didn't finish it. I finished, so they've redone this since the last time I did it. I finished the first, or not the first version, the previous version that they did, and I started this one and didn't finish it. But if you just look at it, like it really will take you. This is what you'll build. You'll build like a little invoice dashboard. So it's a full stack application. So it like takes you through, and it's completely free, self-paced, like all that kind of good stuff. So it's really, I would encourage you if you're interested in learning Next.js to go through this. I would say that I think you should have a pretty good foundation in JavaScript, especially first. React as well, because there are so many like React concepts that are used in Next.js, but like having those core foundational skills with JavaScript, then moving on to React, and then moving on to Next.js, I think would be good because Next.js like abstracts away a lot of like core logic, which in the beginning is okay. But if you are like working with more complex things, you won't know how to fix those issues if you don't know the fundamentals of JavaScript and React, if that makes sense. It kind of reminds me of when people use like Chat GPT or GitHub Copilot for coding things. Like it's fine, especially if you already know what's going on. But if you don't, it's harder to like debug and actually make sure things are working the way they're supposed to because you don't have that foundational knowledge. And so Next.js abstracts away a lot of things, which again, if you know what's going on, is fine. But if you don't, it makes things a little bit harder down the line. So I would even say like it wouldn't hurt to even get a little bit into Node.js on the back end before learning Next.js, because again, it just abstracts away so many things. And that's a double-edged sword, because for me as a front end engineer, it's nice to have something like this that makes it easier for me to build full stack applications, but that also means I'm not like actively learning backend, which isn't always the best thing. So just a note to keep in mind. But I definitely would recommend trying it out because it is becoming increasingly popular. And if you guys are looking for jobs or internships, things like that, like chances are you could be working for a company that uses Next.js. And it also just makes it easier to build your own like projects on your own because it's full stack. And like I said, it abstracts away a lot of the things. Like if you just think about like starting your own project, like this is one of the reasons why I like have so many ideas and don't actually build most of them, is because it takes a lot of work to like start up a project and get everything set up and all that kind of stuff. And Next.js kind of like takes away a lot of those things. So even if I'm trying to see if I can look at like what they have here. uh if they like, because there's something where they kind of, one of these chapters like explains something on this website, explains like the benefits of using Next.js. I just don't know where it is, if I'm being completely honest. Because I haven't done this in a while, but just to talk about like this is giving like a tour of the project that you'll be building, which we don't want. Um, let's see. Oh, they have a conference going on. That's so cool. Okay. Um, but even if you see here, like look here, built-in optimizations, dynamic HTML streaming, React server components, which between you and me, I am not a fan of React server components personally. I think they're a little bit complicated, but that's just me. Um, it also makes data fetching easier, CSS support, client and server rendering, which is also a big deal when we talk about like um, the the speed at which the your pages and elements on your page will be served up to users. Having them render from the client versus the server is going to like really matter, especially if you're building a website that's going to get a lot of traffic. You really want to start thinking about those things. And then you have server actions, route handlers, middleware. I can't even talk. Advanced routing and nested layouts. And this is like one of the things for me that was a big perk was routing. Routing is very, very simple in Next.js compared to JavaScript and React. So that I really like. I'm gonna take a look at the comments right now. Is W3 schools helpful for Next.js? I haven't used it for Next.js. If it works for you, like definitely give it a try. I'm a big believer in like there is no one best resource for anything. So the best resource for each person is going to be different. So if you found W3 schools to be helpful for other things, 100% give it a go for Next.js as well. Um, I just defaulted to this because it's free and it also comes from the people who are making Next.js. So that just, that's like pretty nice for me personally. But yeah. Um there's also like a ton of YouTube tutorials out there that are gonna like get you up to speed if you're more of a video person. Um so yeah. Yeah. I've enjoyed working with Next.js for the most part. For the most part. I I'm one of those people. I'm always going to complain about something, but for the most part, I've enjoyed Next.js. Like I said, it makes a lot of things about like building a front end application easier, and it makes a lot of things about building a full stack application easier. So yeah, definitely recommend. Like I said, especially if you've already worked with JavaScript and React a bit, and you're ready to like try something new. So yeah. Any other questions from anybody? I'm like, I did the opposite yesterday. Yesterday I ended 10 minutes late and today I'm like early. I'm so happy. Um yeah. I was talking earlier about like, so I've showed you guys my Beyonce Auth0 Next.js project. Um I have a bunch other ones that I want to build. So there's one I want to make like an app for people who collect things where you can keep track of what you've collected. So like I like I for instance, one of the things I used to really be into, I'm not into it as much anymore, is I used to really be into K-pop. And why am I telling all my business? And one really big thing with K-pop is collecting albums, like physical albums, because the albums come with a lot of like extra things that are like posters and things like that that people like to have. And so um what was I getting ready to say? Uh I wanted to build an app where I could keep track of like what albums I've bought which ones I want to buy and how much they cost, because those things add up really quickly. And so, like, if you're a person who collects, I don't know, what do people collect? I don't know. But like, the app I wanted to build would be something where people could keep track of what you've bought, what you want to buy, and the cost. And so I have been saying I was going to build that for so long, because I think it would actually be very useful for me to have like an actual tally of like almost like inventory of what I have. Um so yeah, and then I also thought it would be fun to like also include like links to things that I want to purchase, so that I could like have it saved there instead of just having it like floating around in my browser and all that kind of good stuff. So yeah, that's another project idea I have. But um sure, I did just remember we did have I do want to go back to one question we had before. We have like a good 15 minutes left. um Nesta 152, I'm gonna keep an eye on the chat. Are you still having a hard time with getting your React application to run in the browser? Because if so, I would love to like help out with that if that's still an issue you're having, and then you can tell me more about like what exactly is going on, so we can see if we can help with that. Almost forgot to circle back to that, but yeah, just let me know. I'm keeping an eye on the chat to see, and I'll even look at the code on my end, because I don't really know why that would happen if you're doing npm run start, unless you, maybe you might need to update npm, or do you have npm installed already? If you've never worked with JS before, you might not have npm installed already. But yeah, that's like an important thing, because let me look at the scripts here. Yeah, it should be npm run start. It's just showing a black screen. And if you look at your when you run the server, if you look at like if I go here npm run start, does it show any errors here in this area when you run the server? Let me see. What am I where? Because that's strange. It doesn't show any errors, but it's showing an all black screen. I don't know why that would be happening, because there must be like some sort of error in your code somewhere. I wonder if, have you added like the Auth0 provider and those kind of things to your application already? In the index.js file? Not yet. So you don't have any of the Auth0 stuff, and it's still showing all black. That is so strange. I don't know why that's happening actually. Um because what? Like, that means that all of the like components and all this stuff on the app.js file are just not showing up. And I don't know why they wouldn't be showing up if you haven't touched anything yet. And especially if you haven't touched anything in the index.js file. So if you look at index.js right now, you don't have the Auth0 provider here. I wish I could look at your code. It's hard to like help people debug like remotely like this. Because it does it when you run npm run start, it takes you to like localhost for this project 4040, and there's not, it just shows a black screen there. That's so weird. Okay, see, that's where we are. Okay. So you want to import in here in index.js Auth0 provider, period. No with navigate. So just Auth0 provider. And then you should be I'll actually paste this into the chat so you can copy this and replace this in your Next.js. I thought it might be something in the index file. So I'm going to copy this in. Somebody from the MLH side will add this to the chat. Copy and paste this where you see import Auth0 provider with Navigate because that's not what we're using. We're using Auth0 provider, just Auth0 provider. So place that there where the Auth0 provider with Navigate was. And then here, um, where you will wrap the app component with Auth0 provider, this is like where we'll be. I also want to see if like before you actually wrap the app component with Auth0 provider, if you can like um if you have it there already, comment it out. If you don't have it, I would suggest uh not adding it yet and trying to run it in the browser now to see like if it still shows like all black. Because if I comment this out, actually if I comment this out now where I have all the code for Auth0, that might bring up some errors for me. But if you haven't actually done any of the Auth0 stuff yet, um comment out Auth0 provider and then see if it shows anything. If you have added all the Auth0 code, add Auth0 provider with the domain and the client ID and the authorization parameters, and then try it now just to see what happens. Code is so interesting. It really doesn't take much for things to go wrong. Ugh. Okay. Yeah, and you can also you can like do whatever you can to like share the code here. And also, I'm happy like if we run over time, I'm happy to help out. And I am in Discord. Let me make sure I have the where am I? Have it open on one of these screens. I'm gonna go to the ask. I know there was an ask Auth0 channel. I don't know if that's still a thing, but you can just tag me in. You can tag me, or I don't know how that works actually. I don't know how Discord, like what the Discord functionality is for Emily specifically, but you can. I'll try to like look for you on the Discord, or you can tag me or message me on Discord, or you can message me on Twitter or LinkedIn as well, and I can try to like help there too if that would be better for you. Um, but yeah, that can like, and also like I said, I'll share a link to that as well. Again, there is the no, not this. This isn't one I wanted. Where is the? There's a. Is this one I'm looking for? No, it's not one I'm looking for. There's a. We have a guide that. Let me grab a link to that really quickly and share that again in the chat because sometimes it's also good to have like a closer look at the code. Um, so you can compare what you have to what is listed here. So I just should have linked to the um I should have linked to the quick start guide that we have for the React SDK. I'm also like I said in Discord. So I just heard a little notification. There we go. All right, cool. Yes, I am in. Actually, let me. They're saying I have to claim my account with me. Okay. And let me make sure. Okay, cool. So I'm in the Discord, so I can help there as well. But let me check the comments again. So take a look at that the quick start and compare your code to what's there to see. And so you said you added this and it's showing an error now. What error is it showing? You can also share screenshots if you like in Discord if that's easier for you. I'm flexible and I'm here to help. Whew. Again, talking like so much like this, I don't even realize how dry my mouth gets. Um, yeah, I'm wondering like, do you? I wish you. I wish I could just look at your code. Ugh. This is the hard thing about virtual workshops because if this was in person, I would just walk over to you. uh, Sorry for making so much noise just now, but yeah, I would just walk over to you and look over your shoulder. That's also like the hard thing about just like working remotely is that like when you could just in person be like, hey, come over here, look at my code and help out. It's like kind of harder to do that. It's not impossible, it's harder when something is virtual. Okay. Let me show you what you got here. I see your screenshot in Discord to at Auth0 provider. Okay. So on line 15, you have Auth0 provider with navigate. You want to change that to Auth0 provider because the error code you're getting is that Auth0 provider with navigate is not defined because you commented that out. So replace on line 15 and line 17 Auth0 provider with Auth0 provider with navigate. Replace that with Auth0 provider. And then you'll also have to add um you'll also have to add your environment variables for your domain and client ID. So that was like something we went over yesterday, which can get a little bit muddy, but I'm happy to. Do we have time? Do we have time? Actually, I don't want to go over that. We have 4 minutes. I'm happy to like kind of review that again really quickly just so we can go over like because when you create the Auth0 provider, um, you'll have to add these props. So domain client ID in this. But for domain and client ID, we create these constants up here, these variables up here that pull from our environment variables that we created with this stuff. Which I feel like that all sounds so complicated, but okay, great. So are you still seeing an error? Great. It's showing in the browser. Perfect. Yay. Okay. Happy to hear that. I figured it was like if nothing was showing up, I figured there was something going on in index.js that was stopping this app component from showing because the app component is what has everything. So if nothing was showing, I was like, there must be something going on here. So yeah, I'm glad that that worked out. Um, I know I'm pretty sure the MLH can people can confirm for me, but I'm pretty sure the first part of the workshop will be on YouTube for people to watch afterwards, so you can watch it at your own pace. And also, like I said, I shared the guide. The guide actually doesn't have you use environment variables, which I don't think is best practice, which is why I try to teach you guys about environment variables. So if you want to like just get it up and running, you can follow the guide and not use environment variables. But if you want to do it the right way, you can try following the what we went over yesterday. If it's available on YouTube. But yay, I'm so glad that that worked out. I'm so glad that you're seeing everything the way it's supposed to display. Perfect, perfect, perfect. That's great. Um, Yay. Okay, cool. The workshop is available on YouTube. So you guys can like if you need to refresh or go over anything again, or I was trying to like finding the balance between moving too fast and moving too slow and trying to get everything squeezed in is like really hard virtually. So if I was moving too fast, you can like rewatch and like go back to parts that you missed or whatever the case may be. I also haven't done like been an attendee for a virtual workshop in a very long time. But I do remember times where I like took workshops where I was like, this moving too fast. I don't know what's going on. So I hope it wasn't like that for you guys. But we're just about wrapping up. It is almost 2 o'clock on the dot. So I'm going to wrap up. Thank you all for attending and listening to me ramble on about like some of my projects and also like listening to me teach you guys a little bit about Auth0 and authentication and identity security and all that kind of good stuff. I do want to shout out one more time. We have the Ask Auth0 channel in Discord and the MLH Discord. So if you have any further questions, I'll be there so you can tag me and I'll try to answer them to the best of my ability. And then also, if you are able to, when you are able to customize your login box, please take a screenshot and show me. Show me on Twitter and LinkedIn. You can tag Auth0 and use the hashtag Auth0MLH underscore GHW, which stands for Global Hack Week. So yeah, thank you guys for having me again and listening to me 2 days in a row. I hope this was enjoyable for you guys. I'm also happy to hear any feedback that you might have. So yeah, thank you guys so much.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Ciora. Really
Yeah.
appreciate the time you took today. And thanks for answering all the questions. I'm glad it was successful. Nesta, hope your login, uh, customized login is going to look
Yeah.
pretty dope. But we want to see it on Twitter and on LinkedIn after this. Yeah, stick around because in an hour, we're going to have the smart home starter kit part one.
Ooh.
Not sure what that is. It sounds interesting. But Cecilia is going to be doing a workshop there. But yeah, once again, check out the challenges. Go to Discord. Check us out at the Ask Auth0 channel. And yeah, once again, Ciara, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
All right, y'all. Have a good one.